In many kinds of media that have drama, villains aren't just essential to the story, they're vital. The villains are the ones who not only set things up for the main characters in certain ways, they are the opposition in which our heroes have to overcome various things in order to get a victory. In Stranger Things, the villains are many and varied. From Russians trying to obtain power, scientists trying to break through dimensions, and a monster that just wants to take everything for itself, there's a lot to fight. And in Season 4, some of these past villains might return. So allow us to show you how Stranger Things Season 4 can bring back major villains. Number 7. Dr. Brenner. Stranger Things Season 1's big bad, Dr. Brenner, was the immoral scientist responsible for Eleven's telekinetic powers. A creepy father figure to the show's heroine, Dr. Brenner experimented on Eleven in Hawkins Lab and either created or discovered her psychic abilities in the process. Despite being attacked and seemingly killed by the Demogorgon at the close of Season 1, Dr. Brenner is almost certainly going to return, judging by Stranger Things Season 4's trailers so far, as we see the lab that he worked at and him asking Eleven if she was paying attention. So whether it's a flashback or something more, he'll be around. As the man responsible for Eleven's supernatural abilities, Brenner is the most important villain in the show so far in certain capacities. Not only that, but Dr. Brenner's experiments also unleashed the Demogorgon, meaning his return could tie together something enigmatic, elements of both the heroine's backstory and the lore of Stranger Things more broadly. Now obviously this hasn't been fully confirmed, but as we said, he is important to the lore, and this would be a great way to bring him back given how things are growing and expanding. Number 6. Hawkins Lab. The shady institution run by Dr. Brenner was still in operation after he seemingly died at the close of Stranger Things Season 1, but was pretty much obsolete by Season 3. Once taken over by Dr. Owens in Season 2, Hawkins Lab operated more transparently and legitimately, with its scientists even helping Will Byers with his Mind Flayer possession. The end of the season saw Hopper adopt Eleven and the lab seemingly shut down, but this may not be the whole story. Stranger Things Season 4's HNL Control Room teaser makes it look like that Hawkins Lab test subjects will escape in the upcoming season, meaning the lab must still be operating, and its scientists are likely to return. While the scene seen in the teaser could be a flashback to Eleven's past, it is more likely that the mass breakout occurs during the action of Stranger Things Season 4, since it seems impossible for numerous test subjects to have escaped alongside Eleven and not kept in touch. Stranger Things is very much known for flipping the script and making you think one way, but the reality is something very different. So what is to say that the lab isn't still up, and maybe even with Dr. Brenner running it again, all to set up something big that's coming? Number 5. The Soviets. The Soviet scientists who set up and operate the interdimensional portal under the Starcourt Mall are guaranteed to return in Stranger Things Season 4, if only because Hopper is stuck in Siberia with them. However, the odds of Gregory, the Terminator-style assassin who Hopper personally offed at the end of Season 3 coming back, are a lot lower. For one thing, Gregory's entire subplot was one of Stranger Things Season 3's less critically acclaimed elements, as it mostly consisted of numerous chase scenes punctuated by obvious nods to iconic 80s movies. For another, the shockingly resilient Gregory fulfilled his plot purpose by giving Hopper a fake-out death in the Stranger Things Season 3 finale, meaning his return would be deeply redundant in a series already overburdened with a vast cast. And what's more, the Soviet storyline is going to be much more about Hopper and what it is like being in that camp that he's in. Hopper's actor even said that Hopper will have a transformation of sorts in this place, and we know that there will be some new Soviets coming into play via the teases of new cast members. So how villainous or helpful they'll be is unknown, but their story isn't done yet, especially since we know they have a Demogorgon. Number 4. Billy? Judging by the Stranger Things Season 4 episode title, Dear Billy, it seems likely that the unhinged, scene-stealing bully will be back. However, he was pretty definitively dead at the end of Stranger Things Season 3, meaning these appearances may be limited to flashbacks from his sister Max. It is not inconceivable that Billy could have survived his apparent death at the hands of the spider monster, since the rules followed by the interdimensional monsters of Stranger Things have never been clearly outlined, and 11 did make it through her Season 1 confrontation with the Demogorgon. However, Billy was skewered through the torso and doesn't have any of 11's superpowers to fall back on, making it likely that the Stephen King-inspired Stranger Things villain is likely gone for good, save for flashback cameos. But then again, you never know. Plus, if these are flashbacks that he returns into, we could see more sides to Billy than before. Or it could really be him that comes back. You never know when a certain entity is involved. Number 3, the Mind Flayer. The primary non-human antagonist of the show so far, the Mind Flayer, has been behind the horrors of every Stranger Things season in some guise or another. In Season 1, the entity went largely unmentioned as a single Demogorgon was more than enough trouble for the modest early episodes. As Stranger Things Season 2 offered a more ambitious plot, the Mind Flayer became a major villain that threatened Will's life and sanity while also controlling a small army of Demogorgons. By Stranger Things Season 3, the Mind Flayer returned as the spider monster, and its defeat via Billy's self-sacrifice hardly seems sufficient to keep the interdimensional monster down for good. No matter how much Stranger Things Season 4 changes the show's formula, the Mind Flayer's return is all but inevitable. The villain is responsible for every supernatural threat seen in the series so far and offers a greater scope antagonist who is always present even when the heroes defeat each season's threat, giving the show an epic scope without sacrificing its small-town setting. As such, Stranger Things Season 4 will need to bring back the Mind Flayer in one form or another, although the question of whether it will be a multi-story beast like the spider monster or a smaller threat like the Demogorgons of earlier seasons remains to be seen. Number 2, the Upside Down. Sticking to what we did before with Hawkins Lab, the Upside Down is absolutely a villain of the story in its own right, because it is where the Mind Flayer lives and where the Demogorgons, Demodogs, and the evil vines and more come from. The irony of this is that we honestly don't know much about this place as a whole, despite various people from the main cast going into it on several occasions. We know it keeps changing to include new things from Hawkins, and one of the teasers for Season 4 included a clock tower being introduced into the area. Said photos apparently also indicated that a trailer park would be wrapped in some very familiar vines in Season 4. So perhaps there is more to be found within this realm as Season 4 comes around. Number 1, new villains. Finally, it needs to be said that Season 4 of Stranger Things would be foolish to not introduce other villains. What's more, we might already have a tease of one of them via the casting of Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger himself, as Victor Creel, an inmate at a psychiatric hospital. We don't know what role he'll play in the overall plot, but they did cast him for a reason, that's for sure. Add to that, with all the new locations we're going to be at, there is little doubt that something has to come for all the main cast in order for them to eventually and inevitably come back together. So who will those threats be? Will they be new creations from the Upside Down or something from the Soviets? Maybe another powered person like 11. We'll find out soon enough. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Stranger Things Season 4 and how some of the villains of the past might just come back to haunt the present even more than they have before? Which of these villains do you personally hope make an appearance in Season 4? Do you want there to be other new villains in Season 4 too? Let us know in the comments below, and we will see you next time on the channel.